There we go. Before we start, is there any problems that people had during the week or something they've been working on that they had issues with during the week? Because I picked out about 7 problems, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 7 problems that I've seen people this week that have been having problems. So I just went through the list and then we're going to go over them. But does anybody else have specific problems they need to go over? Okay, good. So everyone can see my screen. Okay, this is a common problem, not this exact problem, but something like this where you have to substitute a value to solve the problem. So I'm gonna give you 2 different ones this evening, one with 1 variable and another one with 2 variables. Does anyone know how we would do this by hand? Can someone tell me how we would do this by hand? Matter of fact, you know what? I want everybody to send me their answer in the chat, what they think this would be. 4 minus x to the 4th over x minus 1 when x is minus 2. And I'm going to give you 1 minute and 30 seconds to solve this problem. If you are new, I'm not trying to put pressure on anybody, but I want you to be familiar with being able to solve a problem fairly quickly. So I'm going to solve it for, set it for 1 minute and 30 seconds. And you can send me your answer in the chat. What is the value of the expression 4 minus x to the 4th over x minus 1 when x is minus 2? So that was 3. Got that one. No, that's not that one. That's from here. And Fevin, make sure you send me your okay, no problem, Darlene. I got your message. Thank you. Patrick, I have your answer. Thank you. Fevin, make sure you send me your email so I can send a copy of this video to you so you'll be able to go through it at your own time to make sure you understand each problem.
Okay, thank you.
And Patrick, I don't know if that's right or right. Let me just do it in my head real quick. Okay.
What, I don't know how to do it. Do I just press this chat or something?
Oh yeah, go in your chat and it says send a message directly to me, and then just type in your whatever multiple choice you think it is and then press enter.
Oh, is it multiple choice?
Well, oh yes, A, B, C, or D. Or you could put the answer, doesn't matter. Liliana, I have your answer. That is correct. I believe so. Patrick, I have your answer. I believe that's correct. Sam, I have your answer. Okay, that may, I'm pretty sure that's incorrect, but we'll go over it. A lot of people, the mistake that you made, a lot of people made. Oops, that is the time limit. That was a fast, actually I put it for 2 minutes because my timer didn't only allow me to add 1 minute at a time. So I put 2 minutes, okay? So let's give a couple more seconds for people to put their answer into the chat. And I don't want, okay, good, good, good. I like the way you solved that, Patrick. So one thing I want you to remember is a lot of the problems that we go here on this GED Math Mondays are, you can almost count on those types of problems being on the exam, okay? So let me show you, first of all, can somebody explain how we would solve this problem? What would we do? Not on the calculator, but by hand, manually. Can anybody tell me how to explain, do this problem? Because what I do want to show is Patrick, he did his on the calculator and he actually finished this problem within 30 seconds. I don't even know if it that fast. When I said go, set the timer, when I got back to the chat, he already had his answer and he used the calculator. So I just wanted to explain how long it would take if we do it by hand and show you on the calculator. So how would we set this problem up if we're doing this by hand? What would we do? Anybody? How will we do this? How will we complete this problem by hand?
We substitute -2 in the x place.
Right, so we're going to substitute -2 where everywhere X is. So what am I going to write when I substitute that -2? So everywhere you see X, it's very important that you understand that, because you're going to have one. Listen, this is going to be, this skill is going to help you on 4 to 5, maybe even 6 problems. So you make sure we understand it. So we want to substitute in. So what can I write next if I'm doing this by hand? How would I write if I'm substituting this -2? And what would I write?
You're gonna write -2 squared.
Now, -2, remember the expression is 4 minus X to the 4th over X minus 1.
So it wouldn't be 2 over the 4 on the side?
No. So what we want to do is, this is what we want to do. Everywhere we see X, we're going to put -2. So 4 minus, and this is what my suggestion, if you want to do this by hand, is anytime you see a negative number, put it in parentheses. Okay. So now, oops. Now it's here. Now, so 4 minus, I substituted that X here, and then I substituted that X right here. Okay. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, or PEMDAS is the order of operations. So we want to do this -2 to the 4th power. How would we do that? What does that mean? -2 to the 4th power. Can anybody explain that to me? -2 to the 4th power. How can we solve that? -2 to the 4th power. What does that mean?
For -2 times -2 times -4 times.
Perfect. Okay. Where people make the mistake is they think this answer is going to be negative. But if you notice, 2 negatives make a positive and 2 negatives make a positive. So -2 times -2 is 4. And then -2 times -2 is also 4. So -2 to the 4th power is 16. So we have 4, then we have our minus sign, then we have 16, and then we have -2 over -1. What is 4 minus 16? Can anybody tell me? 4 minus 16.
-12.
-12. And what is -2 minus 1, or -2 minus 1?
-3.
-3. 2 negatives make a what?
Positive.
Positive. And 12 divided by 3 is what?
4.
4.
Positive.
Okay, now I'm looking down at my clock. Just to explain it, it took 3.5 minutes, believe it or not. Right? So the answer was 4. Okay, so now I'm gonna say that. Did everybody understand each step of the way?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Now, what I do want to show you now is similar to what, oh, my calculator is not open. I'm sorry, calculator is not open. I apologize. Let me open it up. I have so many things open. I was doing so many things today. Let me open my calculator and let me show you how fast you could have done this with the calculator. It's very important that you practice with this calculator every single day. It's going to save you a numerous amount of time. So when we just did it, it took us about 3.5 minutes. Most people did not finish in the 2 minutes that I gave. So let me clear everything. So when I maximize the screen. So first of all, I want to store X is -2. So I'm going to use the negative sign there, enter, -2, store X. This is this first part. You must store the variable first. So -2 is X. How do you know it's stored? You look to the right, you'll see -2, and then you write the expression the way you see it. So because we're dividing, we're going to hit ND. 4 minus X, to raise to the 4th power, we must hit the caret symbol. And then 4. Then we're going to hit our down arrow. And we're going to have X minus 1. And then you press enter. Done. That easy. And again, I don't want anybody being perturbed when I say, oh, that's not that easy. It's easy, it's easy. With time, with practice, and doing it manually and with the calculator, what you'll see is a lot of these problems become easy. Okay, so let me show you real quick. Let me maximize, let me make this a little bigger. Matter of fact, let me maximize it so we can see it. So if you go back and watch the video, you'll be able to see exactly how I did it. If you have the calculator, or if you have the software for the calculator, you'll be able to see exactly how I did it. Okay.
How do we, I didn't know how we store it.
Okay, so let's do it again. Let me clear the calculator. Okay, so first we're gonna hit the negative sign there, enter. You'll hit negative, and then you'll hit the 2. Then you'll hit the store button to the left of the number 1.
Oh, okay.
And then hit your variable button right above that to get your X, and you hit enter. We okay?
Got it.
Okay, now we want to put our expression in. You're going to type the expression exactly where you see it. So we're going to hit ND, and I believe it was 4 minus, and then we're going to hit our variable button to get our X. We're going to hit our caret. Anything you want to raise above the second power, you have to hit the caret symbol to the 4th power, and I believe it was X minus 1 on the bottom. I believe, yes, it was X minus 1. And then we hit our right arrow to get out of the fraction, and then we press enter.
Got it.
Okay, very important. Now I've showed you how to do that, right? Okay. I had somebody send me an email. Mr. Tinsley, oh my goodness, we had a problem and they had 2 variables. Okay, so I want to look at a problem with 2 variables. Okay, and this is the problem, a similar problem that she had difficulty with. Okay, so right now what I want to do is, again, doing this by hand, you probably would make a mistake. Now, one thing you should notice is the previous example, X was a negative number. What do you also notice about this example?
That it's an equal sign,
What's the equal sign?
like equation.
Yeah, no, it's not an equation because it doesn't say equal. Remember, equation is with equal. So this is an algebraic expression. So if we have 2x plus 3 is an expression. 2x plus 3 equal 9 is an equation. Okay, so I just wanted to say that real quick. So what you should notice is, yeah, A is 3,
Okay.
B
The
is
value
negative
is
2. A lot of
If-
times when they ask you on the GED exam to evaluate an expression, one of those values are going to be negative because they want to see if you make a mistake, because this is what most people do. Let me show you what most people do. So 3 squared times minus 2 plus A, which is 3 times minus 2 minus 3 times minus 2 squared. Okay, this is what most people do. So we got 9 times minus 2 plus 3 times minus 2 is a minus 6 minus 3 times negative 4. Okay, so we get a positive 12. So we get minus 18 minus 6 plus 12. You get minus 24 plus 12, and then negative 12. Okay, this is the mistake most people make. This is the mistake most people make. And this is why on the GED exam, one of your values are going to be negative. Okay, now what I want to do is I want to check it. Okay, this is what you should be doing at home. When you do a problem, you should do it by hand, then grab your calculator. So I'm going to clear this for right now. I'm going to grab my calculator again. Let me make it a little bit smaller here. Let me clear everything out. Now, I'm just wondering, and I'm not sure if anyone knows how to do this. I'm not sure. But it's telling me 2 values. It's giving me A and B. How would I store both those values? Can anybody tell me how I could store both those values? How would I store both those values? A equal 3 and B is minus 2. I showed you how to do 1. How could we do 2?
So we hit 3, store A, and then enter.
But I'm confused because I've only time in this class when we have this class I always use X and Y. It's
Oh, we
saying
kept
A.
pressing it. We keep pushing it until we get to A.
Perfect. So you keep pressing the variable button until you get to A. Very good. And then we're going to press what?
Enter.
Enter. So that's one variable.
Yeah.
So we're going to do the same thing for the
Mhm.
next one. Again, -2, store, and we're going to hit that variable button until we see B. And we're going to press enter. Okay. So what I want everybody to do, if you remember, you should have your calculator. I want you to store A as 3 and B as -2. I want you to follow along with me because this is where using this calculator will save you again a lot of time. And I'm going to show it to you. So it has everyone stored both A and B.
Yes.
Okay,
Not
good.
me.
Now, what we're going to do now is we're going to enter that expression. Okay. So I'm going to hit my variable button until I get to A. I'm going to hit my square button. And then I'm going to hit my variable button until I get to B. I'm going to hit my plus sign. So has everybody entered A squared B plus?
Yes.
Okay. Now we want to hit AB. So we're going to hit our variable button until we get to A. Now, unfortunately, when I keep pressing the variable button, it keeps changing it. How can I put A and then B right next to it? Can anybody tell me how I can put both variables right next to each other? Because as I keep pressing this variable button, it keeps moving.
The arrow over and then do it again?
Yes. Yes, Patrick. Very good. So this is what you want to remember. If you have two variables next to each other, you must hit the right arrow and then hit your variable button again to start your second variable, B. Okay. Minus, I'm gonna hit my variable button until I get to A. Again, hit my right arrow, hit my variable button until I get to B, and then squared. So what you want to notice, what you want to take into account is once you store those variables, whatever expression you see directly on your test, you should be able to put directly on your calculator. Then when we press enter, oh, that's not the answer I got. I got -12. It's -36. So what I was doing was I was showing you the common mistakes people make on this type of problem. But listen, take 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to get this skill down. It'll save you. This is 3 to 4 problems on your exam. I can guarantee you. Guarantee you. Where you have to go on, where you can store a value and then evaluate it. At least 3 problems, all the way up to maybe 6. Okay. Okay. So now, Mr. Tinsley, I know how to do it when the computation part, but you know what, Mr. Tinsley? The word problems, Mr. Tinsley, the word problems. Okay. So let's look at a word problem. Let me move the calculator out the way. Where's my, there we go. Oops. Got to clear that first. Clear it. Go to that word problem. Most people are intimidated by word problems. Don't. We work with word problems every day of our lives. Don't get intimidated by a word problem. Take 5 deep breaths and identify what you know. So let's look at this word problem together. A painter uses the expression 35H plus 30C to determine how much he charges a customer for a job that takes H hours and C cans of paint. His last job required 3 cans of paint and took 15 hours to complete. How much did the painter charge? Oh my God, Mr. Tinsley, there's no H on my calculator. What do? I don't know how to do this problem. Can someone tell me what's given so we can attempt to get this problem right? You know what? Matter of fact, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give you 3 minutes. I want you to send me the answer to this problem in the chat. I'm gonna give you 3 minutes. Let's let everybody try it first before I just go giving the answers. Let's try it first. So let me set the timer. You can start now. And I'm going to set the timer for 3 minutes and send me your answer in the chat. If you notice, all these answers are close to each other. So it's not like you can eliminate 2 right away. And I love that classes are getting bigger and bigger. Got about 12 people here tonight. I love it. I love it. But again, I have set this for 3 minutes. Send me your answer in the chat. Okay, Patrick, I have your answer. I'm not sure what the answer is. Let me try to do it in my head real quick. That is correct, I believe. Sam, that is maybe incorrect. Let's see. So Patrick, you were correct. Sam, you were incorrect. Now, again, don't be worried about making mistakes here. This is where you make the mistakes. So I want anybody getting offended because I say, oh, you're wrong, you're right. This is the place you make your mistakes and then you correct them. So then when you take your exam, you're not making any mistakes. Okay, I like the way you did that, Patrick. Okay, I like that, I like that. Did you use your calculator at all? Okay, good, good. I love to hear you using your calculator. I love it, I love it, I love it. A painter uses the expression 35H plus 30C to determine how much he charges a customer for a job that takes H hours and C cans of paint. His last job required 3 cans of paint and took 15 hours to complete. How much did the painter charge? Okay, that's fine, Patrick. Good, good. Believe it or not, that was 3 minutes. And again, let me explain something to you. Most people do not pass the math exam because they don't finish. Okay, on average. Okay, as you're doing the practice test on my Schoology site, or you working in your workbook, you should probably set a limit about 3 minutes at the most on each problem. If you can't do it in 3 minutes, okay, just mark it off so you know, okay, this type of problem takes me longer. Okay, so I only got 2 answers back. Can anyone tell me how to do this problem who did not send an answer in? Can someone tell me how or what's given this problem? Where would we start? Because sometimes what happens is you've been practicing math for months and years, and you've been getting a headache, and it's just something going on with word problems. It does something to your brain. Again, identify what you know. What do we know from this problem? What do we know from this problem?
The expression 35H plus 30 cans.
Right. So first of all, we know the expression. What else do we know? What else do we know? We know the expression 35H plus 30C. What else do we know from this couple sentences from this problem? What else do we know?
3 cans, he can do it in 15 hours.
Okay, so 3 cans of paint and 15 hours to complete. What's also very important, you must identify your variables. So H is the number of hours, and C is the cans of paint. So if I say H is equal to, what number would you say?
15.
15. If I said C, what would you
3.
say C is equal to?
3.
3. So again, these are givens. This is what they give you. So now, this is why this becomes now a simpler problem, because now you have your expression, you have what the variables stand for. So 35 times H. How do we identify multiplication? What do we use?
The hour 60 minutes.
What do we use for multiplication? What symbol?
The parentheses.
Parentheses. So in parentheses, we're going to put 15 plus 30 times C. Again, parentheses for
3.
multiplication. And guess what? Don't waste your time. You don't have to do this by hand. We're going to use our what?
Calculator.
Our calculator. Listen, it is your friend. So now watch this. 35 in parentheses 15 plus 30 times 3. We hit enter and we get our answer of 615. Okay? Answer of 615. So this is what you want to get in the habit of doing when you're doing these word problems. Identify what's given. Okay? This becomes a much easier problem if you identify that the hours were 15 and the number of cans, which was C, is 3. Okay, so now I'm gonna save that. Now, of course, you know Mr. Tinsley is using the calculator, right? So watch this. I don't have H on my calculator. I don't have H on my calculator, but you know what? I'm gonna say 30x plus, 30x, 35x plus 30c. X is equal to 15. C is equal to 3. Okay, so let me save this first with that answer there. Again, why? Hold on, Mr. Tinsley, where'd you get X from? Oops, I didn't mean to erase that. Mr. Tinsley, where'd you get X from? Can somebody tell me why I chose X?
X is a variable.
Because you don't have H.
Right. Even, yes, H is a variable, but I don't have it on my calculator. And since I want to use my calculator, I can replace any variable with any other variable. So to help me, what I can do is say H equal X. So I help me remember what H is for, what X is for. So watch this. I'm gonna do the same thing. 15 store X, 3 store C. And then I'm gonna write in my expression 35x plus 30c. 615. Okay. Now, again, what I want to also explain to you is, because I just saw someone in the chat wrote how they did it, and they did this. They said 35 times 15 plus 30 times 3. Could you have done it that way?
Yes.
Yes. You
Because
also could have
we-
done it that way.
Yeah.
Because it's going to do multiplication first. So it's going to do 30 times 15, then it's going to do 30 times 3, and then the calculator is going to add them together. So again, this is another way you could use the multiplication symbol. Now, I know for me, as I'm teaching the calculator and I'm teaching in my class, I don't use the multiplication symbol and division symbol. I use parentheses for multiplication, and I use ND for division. If you get in the habit of doing the same thing over and over, when you get to your test and use your formula sheet, it'll be much easier. All right, so let me save this. So I want to show you a word problem. Let me move the calculator, and then where was I? Was it here? No. What? I lost my place that fast. Come on, Jeremy. Here we go. Oh, I know what I wanted to show you. This one here. Not that one. There, right here. Okay. I had a lot of questions, or a lot of people got problems like this incorrect. Okay. Now this has nothing to do with stored variables, but I just wanted to make sure people understand how to do this type of problem. Usually this type of problem is one of the first 5 problems. Okay. And what happens is people see this question, the volume of a packing box is 5 minus x cubic feet. The width of the box is x feet and the length is x minus 2 feet. The height is given by the expression 5 minus x divided by x times x minus 2. Which of these values of x make this expression undefined? Oh my goodness. Did this just give you a headache or not?
Yes.
Yes. This is one of the easiest problems on the exam. But what they do is they put it in a put it in a way that may cause some confusion. The key words you're looking for that would makes this a much easier problem. Again, because when you read this, it's like, what do they want? I don't understand what they want. But they, again, take a deep breath. What are they giving? So they gave you the volume. They gave you the width. They gave you the length. They gave you the height. But then, so they gave us 4 different things. But what are they asking? Which, let me get another color, let me do blue. Which of these values of x make the expression what?
Undefined.
That's the key word right there. So all that other stuff that they gave you was extraneous. The only 2 things you need is here and here. What makes something undefined? Can anybody tell me what makes something undefined? There are 2.
When equal 0,
When what is equal to 0?
the expression.
No, not when the expression is equal to 0, no.
The
When
denominator.
the denominator is 0.
Yes, when the denominator is 0. So an example of that would be 8 over 0. Okay, so when the denominator is 0, or you have a negative square root, that's when something is undefined. It's those 2, those are the only 2 cases you have to worry about. If the denominator is 0 or a square root of a negative number. So what you should see right away, it has nothing to do with a square root. So we know it's not that. So what they're saying is, what values of x would make our denominator 0? How would we solve this problem? Let me clear it. So we know we want to, how can we, I don't know how to figure that out. How can we find out when this is 0? When the denominator is 0? Can anybody tell me how we would do that?
You're gonna change the negative to a positive.
Why would you change the negative to a positive?
Wouldn't it be positive 2?
Okay, and why would it be positive 2?
It's gonna be positive 2 and the 0 plus
Why?
2.
Why?
Give me 2.
Tell me why.
Because I added the equal sign after the x, take away 2, I put the equal sign in my 0 sign.
So you see what x times x minus 2 equals 0? Like that?
Yes.
Okay.
And then I took the plus 2.
Okay, so this is what you remember. You can't plus 2 here. Because remember, this is distributive property. So this would be x squared minus 2x equals 0. Then you don't know what to do then, right? So that's incorrect. Oops, I want to make that red. That's incorrect. Oops. That way, multiplying it out is incorrect. This is what I need you to understand. X times x minus 2 equals 0. Okay. One of the most important rules in math is the 0 rule. Anything times 0 is what?
0.
0. So the easiest way to do this, which I would say, is to substitute these values in. So if I put a 0 in for x, I would have 0 times 0 minus 2. And what's 0 times minus 2? 0.
0.
So we know A could possibly be it. This is where people make the mistake. Once they see A, once they fill in 0, they think they're done. They pick A and they leave. You must look at all the multiple choices. Okay, we know 0 is an option. So let's try 5. Okay, now, why did I only write x times x minus 2 equals 0? Why didn't I write this whole expression here? Why did I write this entire expression? Why did I only write x times x minus 2 equals 0? Can anybody tell me that? Why did I not write the entire expression?
Because only the bottom has to be equal to 0.
Yes, only the denominator has to be equal to 0. So let's just substitute 5 in for x. So 5 times 5 minus 2, is that equal to 0? So 5 times 3 equals 0. 5 times 3 is 15. Is 15 equal to 0? Is 15 equal to 0? Is 15 equal to 0?
No.
No,
No.
15 is not equal to 0. Okay, so we know it's not 5. Okay, so let me save this. Let me erase some of this here. We know 0 was an answer. We know 5 is not an answer. So that means it can't be D because we know 5 is not an answer. So now the second choice we have, the only 2 choices we have left are 0 only and 0 and 2. So now we're going to plug the 2 in. 2 times 2 minus 2 is equal to 0. 2 times 2 minus 2 is 0. 2 times 2 minus 2 is 0. Equals 0. And then 2 times 0 is 0. So now 0 equals 0. So we know both 0 and 2 make this undefined.
Mhm.
Now, the reason why I did not use the calculator here, because this is one of the first 5. You cannot use the calculator for these types of problems. But you have to know 2 important factors. The first one, what Layla said, is the denominator must be equal to 0. Then the easiest way is just to plug those numbers in. Now, what you also could have done is this. Let me show you. What you should have also realized is 0 times anything is 0. So right away, you know 0 is the answer. So anything without 0, you already know it cannot be. So right away, we know it's not 5, we know it's not D. Then we substitute that 2 in. Again, 2. So we just took this 2 and put it as x.
So, 0
And we got to make sure that's equal to 0. And it is.
equals 0.
Okay, this is one of the most missed questions on your exam. Undefined. They hardly ever put the negative square root on the GED exam. Okay. I like that positive reinforcement, Liliana. I love it. I love it. Okay, so number 3, let me look here. Number 3. So what I did was I just, for people who were practicing this week, what I did was I just looked at a bunch of different problems that people had issues with and I wrote them down. So let me go to the next one. Number 3 I have here. Why is this not moving up? 3, 3, 3, 3. Let me find 3, 3. Oh, yes, number 3. Oh, my goodness. Number 3 is something else. Number 3 is something else. Number 3 is something else. And again, most of the things that I'm giving you, each of these nights, most missed, there we go. Most missed problems. Okay, let's look at it here. See if I can find it. It's not here. It's not, it used to be one of the most missed problems. It must not be any longer. But I'll show you anyway. So let's look at this problem. Researchers tested a new, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you multiple choice here. So A, hold on for a second. Hold on for 1 second. want to make sure the answer is not in view. Okay. A is 4. B is 6. C is 8. D is 10. So these are the multiple choice answers. I changed this up a little bit. It says researchers tested a new tooth whitening toothpaste on 10 people. They recorded the number of days it took before the results were visible. The results of all but one of the participants are listed below. If the average time, the results for all 10 participants is 5.5 days, what is the missing participant's value? If you notice, participant number 10 has no value. What is the missing participant's value? Wow. Wow. Does anybody think this is an easy problem? Does anybody even know
No.
what? Does
No,
anybody
because I
even
got
know-
it wrong, Mr. Teasley. That's why.
Okay. Well, yes. So people who have taken an exam on a practice exam, this is something, the missing value is one of the, I thought it was one of the most missed questions, or used to be. Maybe it's a new one, but let's make sure we know how to do it. If they give us the average, how can we find the missing value? Okay. So let me ask you a question. How do we find the average? And how do we know to use the average? Like, where did I even get that from? How do I even know to use the average? Can anybody tell me? How do I know?
Is it the average that the biggest number minus the smallest number?
Okay, that's
No.
called the range.
Oh,
So the
It-
biggest number minus the smallest number is called the range. Okay, the
Thank you.
average. Oh, no problem at all.
We're gonna add and divide by all of them.
Okay. So again, this is a problem that will give everybody issues. Does anybody, let me just ask this, does anybody think they know how to do this problem?
I don't.
Okay, good. So this is what I wanted. Okay, I got a message. Hold on. Okay.
We can add all days of results and divide it by how many days we have to.
Okay, so we
get
can,
the average.
so they already gave us the average though. Right? So if you look at the last part where they give us the question, it says if the average time for all 10 participants is 5.5 days. So they already give us the average. They already give us the average. That is a given. So this is where it's important to you to identify what's given. They gave us the average. So now when you're in class and when you're studying and when you're going over with the teacher, what they tell you how to do the average. You add them all up. Oh, I'm sorry. You add them all up and you divide
Yes.
by how many there are. But they gave us the average. So what do?
We divided to get the result.
So we're gonna divide what? What are we dividing?
5.5
All
9.
So it's 5.5 divided by 10.
9.
No, it's 10 people. So it's 10. It's 10. Takes into account 10. So remember, okay. So how do we find the average? Let me start there. How do we find the average? How do we find the average?
Division.
No.
Isn't when you add all the numbers and
Addition
divide them
plus-
by how many they are?
Okay. So let's understand how we find the average. First, in order to find the average,
Add
we
all
must
the-
sum the values. What does the word sum mean?
Adding all the numbers.
Add.
So
Addition.
we must add them up, and then we must divide by how many there are. Correct?
Yes.
And then that's how we find the mean. So what we need to do is we need to do the opposite. We need to go the opposite direction. Now that we have the mean, in order to find how many the sum is, what we need to do, let me change my color because this is very important. We must take this 5.5 and go backwards. So instead of dividing, we're going to multiply by 10. So I see, Fevin, you are correct. Patrick, you are correct. Alex, that's incorrect. So we're going to go over this right now. So 5.5. So again, this is one of the questions that they've been having on GED exam. So again, the missing value. So we go backwards. So instead of adding them up and dividing, we're doing the opposite. The opposite of division is multiplication. So 5.5 times 10 is 55.
Mhm.
Does everybody understand that?
Yeah.
What's the opposite of addition?
Subtraction.
Subtraction. So what we're going to do is we're going to subtract all these numbers.
Yeah.
So when we add all these numbers up, we get 9, 15, 18, 24, 29, 36, 45, and 49. So when we add all these up, we get 49. So if we then subtract that 55 minus 49, we get 6. Now, again, that's a whole lot of work. Am I right or wrong? So, and then if you haven't seen it before, you start to get flustered. This is what I want you, this is how I want you to do this problem. Watch this. Okay, remember, your calculator is your friend. Watch this. I want to show you something that's very important. We know if you add them all and then divide by how many there are, you'll get the average, correct?
Yeah.
Oops,
Yeah.
I erased the multiple choice. Sorry about that. Let me put those back up. I said 6, 8. That what did I say? 4, 6, 8, and 10.
Yep.
4, 6, 8.
Okay, so watch this. This is a much easier way. I need you to understand this. Watch this. Watch this. I'm gonna show you some magic here. Watch this. Are you ready? Are you ready for the magic? Are you ready? Watch this.
Yeah.
So since I know I have to add them up, and I know my multiple choice, one of the multiple choices, my answers, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add them all up, but I'm going to change the last answer before I divide by 10. So 5 plus 4. Now it's a much easier way. 5 plus 6 plus 3 plus 6 plus 5 plus 7 plus 9 plus 4. Is that all of them? I think that is. So I'm just going to hit enter right now. So as I total all these up, I know I got 49. Does everybody understand where I got the 49 from?
Yes.
Okay, now, so now watch this. I'm going to use the multiple choice. Once I total those up, I'm gonna use each of the multiple choice. So now I'm gonna do 49 plus 4, because that's my first multiple choice, and I'm gonna divide that by 10. Did I get 5.5
No. Small.
as the average?
No.
No, I did not. So it's not 4. So I'm gonna go use my calculator. I'm gonna go back up into here. I'm gonna hit enter. Instead of using 4 now, I'm gonna use what?
6.
6. I'm gonna hit 6. I'm gonna press enter, and I'm gonna divide by 10. Did I get the average of 5.5?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I'm done. I'm done.
I did the same thing.
Okay. And this is one of the most missed questions. Now, it's not on that list that I just showed you, but I've had a lot of people emailing me, texting me of how do you find the missing value when given the mean. This is how you do it. You take the average, multiply by how many there are, and then you subtract the remaining the values you already have. You go in opposite. So instead of adding and then multiplying, instead of adding and dividing, you multiply, then subtract. Everybody understand that?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I'm gonna have y'all ready for this exam. I cannot wait. I cannot wait. All right, let me find the next problem. Number 11. 11, 11, 11, 11, 11. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, 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 yes. Yes, 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 yes. And there's another one with the undefined. There's another one. Look at that. But let's do this one right here. What is the slope of the line that is perpendicular to the equation 5x minus 3y equal 12.
Okay.
What do we know? Again, this is when you read these word problems, when you go through these problems, your first step is to identify what you know. What do we know?
We have the equation 3x, 5x minus 3y equals 12.
Okay, so we have, this is our linear equation. So the second thing, what form is this linear equation in?
Standard.
It's standard form.
This
It's
is standard form. How can we find the slope of an equation in standard form?
The 5x is a positive 5x. You turn it to a negative 5
Negative 5
over negative 3.
over negative 3. Two negatives make
Yes.
a what?
A positive.
A
5,
positive.
3.
So
5
just in
over 3.
case, if you're new this evening, how you find the slope, the easiest way to find the slope from standard equation is to take the opposite of A and put it over B. So A is 5, that's where she got negative 5 from. And then B is negative 3, and 2 negatives make a positive. So now, that's the slope of this equation. Is that what they want?
No, they
No.
want the
We need this-
perpendicular.
They want the perpendicular. So this is the mistake 4 people made. All 4 people this week that took this practice test made the same mistake. So I wanted to make sure we understand. We must find the slope of the perpendicular. What this is the slope of this line.
Like
How
us.
do we find the slope of the perpendicular?
You flip it and
Negative
you put a
inverse.
negative. The 3 become a negative 3 over 5.
Negative 3
Like
over 5.
Yes.
Okay, so what I usually say is change the sign and flip.
Okay.
So
Negative
since this
inverse.
is positive, it becomes negative, and then flip it, 5/3 become 3 over 5. It's still the
Mhm.
same answer, but you want to be careful, make sure you
Mhm.
fully understand when that negative, because if that slope was negative, it would have became positive.
Okay. Okay.
Very good. So negative 3/5 is the slope of the perpendicular. Does everybody understand that?
Okay.
Okay.
now, I don't understand with this.
Say that again.
I don't understand this.
You understand it now?
No, I
Okay.
don't know.
So let's
What's a perpendicular?
or what is perpendicular?
Yeah, this is the first time I see that.
Wow. Okay. So there are 2 things you have to be familiar with. First of one is parallel. Parallel lines are 2 lines that will never cross. That will never cross. And because they will never cross, you know their slopes are equal. So parallel lines have the same slope. An example of parallel lines would be y equal 2x minus 3, y equal 2x minus 5, y equal 2x minus plus 3. I don't know. Why? Because they all have a slope of 2. So parallel lines have the same slope. Now, perpendicular lines. What is a perpendicular line? Can anybody tell me or tell your classmate what a perpendicular line is?
It's
What a
opposite
perpendicular
line.
line?
Opposite lines.
Not opposite.
A perpendicular line is a line that will never cross.
No, that is parallel. What is perpendicular?
A line that will never cross.
No, that's parallel. What is perpendicular?
Ah. Oh, the one that crossed then.
The ones that intersect, but do what?
To make the right angle.
Negative
Yes.
order.
Start again. What happened?
So a perpendicular line, and I'm going to show you an example so you can see it. Parallel lines are 2 lines that will never cross. They have the same slope. Perpendicular lines are two lines that will cross, but it's special. They're special. When they cross, they make a 90-degree or a right angle. I don't know who said right angle, but that's exactly right. Forms a 90-degree angle or right angle. Okay, so let me show you two examples real quick so you can actually see it. I like using this program. I use this for my oldest son when he was in elementary school. Watch this. So I'm gonna show you two parallel lines. Y equal 2x. Y equal 2x minus 3. Oops. 2x minus 3. If you notice, when you look at these two lines, they are parallel because what is the slope of this first equation?
2.
2x.
What is this? No, who said 2x?
Me.
Remember, the slope is only it's a value. So it's whatever's in front of the x. Okay. The slope of the second equation is also what?
2.
2. So if you notice, the equation of both these lines are 2. So now let's look at the graph that I just put on the screen. If you notice, these lines will never ever cross. Look at that. Why? Because they are parallel. Okay. So now let me show you perpendicular. So remember I said the negative inverse. So if m is equal to 2, the slope of the perpendicular will be
-2.
negative. No, not -2, because you got to flip it. Negative what?
1/2.
1/2. So watch this. I'm going to change the equation so we can actually see it. 1 divided by 2. Oops, I'm going to have to do this one all over.
Oh,
1 divided by 2, x minus 3.
yes. Yes.
No, that's I don't know why that scale must be off. Oh, I forgot the negative. Okay, there we go. Now, if you look at it, right there, it forms what? There's that 90 degrees. These two lines are perpendicular. So now you have a visual why the slope is the negative inverse. Remember, parallel lines, the slopes are the same. For perpendicular lines, it's the negative inverse, or change the sign and flip it. Okay? Very good, very good. All right, so I want to show that this is if you ever need help with graphing lines so you can actually see them, it's called decimals. Okay, so if you ever working with linear equations, you can type them in, you can see how they're going to look on a graph. Okay,
Do we go to Google and find it?
say it again.
Do we go to Google to find decimals?
Yeah, decimals, yes. Yeah, I actually love it. I actually love it. Let me clear this out. And let me close that up. Time is flying. 18. Hold on, that's not the one. 20. Ooh. Oh, yes. Okay, let's look at this one here. Look at this problem. Okay, so if we look at the most missed questions, again, most missed questions, where are you? There we go. Compute the area and circumference of circles. We all know how to do that. Area is pi r squared. Circumference is 2 pi r, or pi times d. Everybody has been doing that in class. But the problem is what the GED has been doing is they have been giving you the area, or they've been giving you the circumference. Okay, so in this case, let's try one of those problems. So this is a problem. The area of a circle is 144 pi. What is the diameter of the circle? What? I don't know. How am I supposed to know that? Can anybody tell me how we would solve this problem? Because I'm looking at this problem. I already got a headache already.
Square root of 144.
Square root of 144. Okay. Why did you say square root of 144?
Because it was in your ebook.
I don't know if it's the square root of 144 though, because they're asking for the what?
Diameter.
Yeah,
Diameter.
but then you would times the radius, which is what you would get. You
Right.
would times that by 2.
So let me show you how to do it manually. So first of all, what did they give us? Okay, this is what
144.
they gave us. The area is 144. Again, always identify what's given. So once you identify what's given, you go to your formula sheet. What is the area of a circle? Does anybody know the formula for area of a circle?
A equal
r
pi
squared.
squared.
Okay, watch this. Well, we know the area is 144 pi. So instead of A, we're going to put 144 pi is equal to pi r squared. Everybody understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in order to get this r squared by itself, what do we need to do? To get the r by itself, what do we need to do? Can anybody tell me?
Square root divided by pi.
Divide by pi. We need to divide by pi. Whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. So the pi's here cancel, the pi's here cancel. You should see now 144 is equal to r squared. Okay, r is still not by itself. How do we, when we have r squared, what is the inverse operation of squaring something?
Square root.
Square root. So we're going to take the square root of both sides. So we get the square root and the square cancel. So we get r equal. And can anybody tell me the square root of 144?
12.
Well,
12. Okay, now this person answered 12. So they did all the work correct. But what are they asking for?
diameter.
Diameter. So if the radius is 12, what's the diameter?
24.
24. So that person did all that work correct, but then forgot that they're not asking for the radius, they're asking for the diameter. This is why you keep writing your variables down until you are completely done. R equal 12. My radius is equal to 12, but they're asking for the diameter. Diameter is 24. 4 different people got this problem wrong this week. Same problem. So these are the ones I'm going over today, because a lot of people got them wrong. So again, they're not a little tricky, but you just got to understand what they're asking for and what to do. Now, for the GED though, this is what they're going to do. Okay. Let me clear this out. This is more of a task question. What the GED will give you is 144 times 3.14. Let me see what that is first. Times 3.14. So we got 452. So instead, they're 452.16. So this is what the GED will do. They won't give you in terms of pi, they'll give it to you as a decimal. So again, we're going to do the same thing. Area equal pi r squared. Okay. 452.16 equal pi r squared. In order to get r by itself, we divide both sides by pi, the same thing we did before. We know pi is 3.14, so 452.16 divided by 3.14 is equal to r squared. Again, we're still going to do the same thing. We're going to take the square root of both sides. So the square root of 452.16 divided by 3.14 equal r. What you should notice, and what I explained in the ebook, they give you the area of a circle. The radius is equal to the area divided by pi. I would just make sure I know it. If you're given the area of a circle, the easiest way to find the radius is I'm giving you the formula already. The square root of the area divided by pi. Now watch this. Let's grab the calculators and make sure we got it. Let me clear it. Well, not clear everything, but some of it. I see I'm on a delay when I hear somebody's, I hear the echo. I'm gonna have to mute somebody. So watch this. So again, let me clear the calculator and I'm gonna maximize it. Again, square root ND 452.16 divided by 3.14. Get out of this fraction, get out of the square root by hitting that right arrow twice. We're gonna press enter. That is our radius. How do we find the diameter? What do we have to do?
Times it by 2.
Times it by 2. Look at that, done. 30 seconds.
And to get the circumference, you would times the diameter by 3.14.
Right, and if you want to find the circumference, then you would multiply that by 3.14. 3 easy steps, back to back to back. And again, I go in the ebook, I go step by step how to do it. Why? Because I know the most commonly missed questions. I know the ones people had the most trouble with. So I gave you a nice quick way to be able to do it. All right. And I think it's, what time is it? 7:09. Do I got time for one more? Yeah, I'm gonna make time for one more. I got one more. If you have to go, it is 7 o'clock. It is 7 o'clock. If you have to go, that's fine. I was looking for oh my goodness, I was looking for the quadratic equations. Here we go, here we go, I got it. Here we go. All right, let's go here. Oops, don't want to show names, don't want to show names. Hold on, let me get the problem first. And this person got most of them right, so let me not say they didn't get it right, but I wanted to make sure we understand, okay? Okay, x squared plus 8x minus 33 is equal to 0. Okay, this is a quadratic equation, which you should identify or know now. The standard form of a quadratic equation is ax squared plus c equals 0, which you should be able to do from here on out. Okay, some people don't know how to factor a quadratic equation. Okay, I'm gonna show you how to factor a quadratic equation. But what I would expect you to do is just multiply each of the multiple choice until you get the quadratic equation. For example, what is x times x? What is x times x? X squared. What is x times minus 1?
Negative x.
Negative x. What is 33 times x?
33x.
33x. Well, right there, you know 33 minus 1 is 32x. Well, we got 8x in the middle, so we know it can't be a. Okay, so let's go to number 2. Okay. Let me clear that out real quick. Again, sometimes you want to be able to look at the answers to get first, you may not know how to factor. That's a long process, but you should be able to multiply binomials. So what is x times x?
X squared.
X squared. What is x times minus 2?
Negative 2x.
Negative 2x. What is 9 times x?
9x.
9x. What is 9x minus 2x?
Negative 18.
No, what is minus 2x plus 9x?
Oh. 7x.
7x. So again, we need to get 8x, so we know it's not b.
It's not.
Also, what you could have did was 33 times 1 is minus 33, plus 9 times minus 2 is minus 18, plus 3 times minus 11 gives you minus 33. Minus 3 times 11 gives you minus 33. So that last term, we already could have got rid of b already. Okay, but let's look at this, the third one. Okay, x times x gives you x squared. X times minus 11 gives you minus 11x. plus 3 times x gives you plus 3x. So we already know that's a negative number. When we combine these two terms, that's minus 8x. So we know it's not C. So now the only one we have left is D, but let's make sure we know how to do it step by step. X times x is x squared. X times plus 11 is plus 11x.
X.
Minus 3 times x is minus 3x. And then minus 3 times minus 33 is minus plus 11 is minus 33. We have like terms, right? So
Plus
x
8.
squared plus 8x minus 33. So that would have been the answer. Now, again, that's not what they wanted you to do. What they wanted you to do is do this. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So my a is 1, my b is 8, my c is negative 33. So what we want to do is we want to factor c. Oops, let's use black here. We want to factor c. When a is 1, we factor c. Find the factor pairs. So 1 times negative 33, 3 times negative 11. There's only 2 factor pairs for 33. Negative 1 and 33, and then negative 3 and 11. You should see right away the factor pair that's going to give you, oops, let's change to blue. What factor pair is going to give you B? So what factor pair is going to give you 8?
Negative 3 and 11.
Negative 3 and 11. So you just rewrite those. X minus 3, X plus 11. This is how you factor. If they wanted you to solve it, you have to find the zeros. The opposite of minus 3 is
3.
plus 3, and the opposite of plus
And
11
negative-
is negative 11. So they can ask you 2 things. They're either going to ask you to factor a quadratic equation or solve it. The easiest way, if they ask you to factor it, is just use the multiple choice and multiply out. That's the easiest way to do it, unless you know how to factor quickly. Okay?
Okay.
Oh, thank you, Layla. I appreciate it. Any questions before we leave this evening? Again, if you have your test scheduled between December and January, make sure you get your one-on-ones. Make sure you contact me to get your one-on-ones in. If someone did pass today, Emma, is she here? Is Emma here? I told her to come by. Is Emma here this evening? She's not here. Okay, but she only came to class like once or twice, but she was using the eBook. But again, if you're scheduled for a test in December or January, make sure you get those you schedule your one-on-ones with me so we can make sure you pass this exam. Any questions before we leave this evening?
Mr. Kinley,
Yes.
I would like to get the website that you have where I can practice the test.
Okay. I sent it to you last week, didn't I? In fact, let me stop sharing
No.
and let me pause it because there's no reason to record all this stuff. Let me pause.